Pokemon Scarlet and Violet review from somebody who hasn't liked Pokemon since Gen 3. Hi there, I'm Golden Rots, and today we'll be taking a look at Pokemon Scarlet and Violet and my thoughts on it. These are my opinions and what brings me back to Pokemon and all of this, so we'll cover that. But for the most part, I really love the game. I'm not very far in it yet, so that could change, but it's very doubtful just because the beginning of a game is what really gets me into Pokemon. You know, I could not really get into Black and White, I couldn't get into Sun and Moon, I couldn't get into any of those. You know, I was able to get into Diamond and Pearl, I will admit. That one was an okay story. Not necessarily anything to brag about in my opinion. I liked the underground system they had in that game. But outside of all of that, Gen 4 was not really a good game for me. You know, I finished it, yes. That was the last game I had finished until Sword and Shield came out, and I finished Sword and Shield, which that also wasn't necessarily that great of a game, in my opinion. Again, the beginning of a generation is what really gets me into the game. You know, there's a lot of things that I have to factor in that make Pokemon a good game for me. One of those is the Pokemon itself. If the Pokemon don't look like Pokemon to me, I'm not gonna play the game because that's not what I'm interested in. You know, I'm not interested in a new style of Pokemon. I'm interested in the old style, you know, the ones that they kept for the last 4 generations. Those are the Pokemon I'm interested in. When Black and White hit, all the Pokemon did not look like Pokemon to me, you know, all the new ones. And again, this is my opinion. I really want to stress that because there's probably going to be a lot of people saying, oh, well, they still look like Pokemon, but to me, they weren't the traditional Pokemon. You know, and I don't know what pulls me to that conclusion outside of the different styles they'd used within the past couple of years. You know, Alolan Pokemon, those aren't Pokemon to me. You know, yeah, they got new forms and all of that, but they just look so far out there, you know. They don't look like an actual Pokemon. They look like they were overdone or overcomplicated, and I don't like that. You know, I like the simple look that Pokemon were given in the first 3 to 4 generations. You know, Generation 4 is where they kind of started getting a little complex, but kind of not complex. So I'll give Gen 4 that. But anyways, what we're looking at is a really good generation in my opinion. You know, this is coming from somebody who's played Pokemon since Fire Red, which I know it's not the very beginning. You know, I didn't start off at the very beginning, but I did start off on 1st gen, but 3rd gen games, if that makes sense. You know, so I still got the full, almost the full experience of playing Pokemon when it first came out, but I didn't get the full experience of the graphics. So graphics are a big thing for me as well, as you could probably imagine, since I started off with a really clean version of the 1st gen. So had I started off with the very original games, I probably would have liked the other generations a little bit better, just because the graphics have changed significantly over the years. But I started off on Fire Red, so the graphics to me were already really good. You know, so the graphics over the years have also fluctuated. You know, they overcomplicated the graphics after Gen 4 and a little bit in Gen 4, I think. You know, and I think that's what this all boils down to, is literally the overcomplication of the game. You know, they were trying way too hard to make something that they didn't really have to try very hard on. You know, like, you've already sold the game idea to me, you know? Like, I love that idea. You know, I love going out and collecting Pokemon because I am a collector. So, to bring something like this to life, it doesn't really need to be complicated. You know? Like, the looks of Pokemon don't need to be overdone, or, you know, like, who's this game really appealing to? Adults or kids? It's a game for everyone, but their main audience is kids. So when they overcomplicate things, then the kids don't necessarily like it because it's overcomplicated, you know? There's way too much going on. Whereas if they have a simpler look to them, then it's more likely to be appealing because it's smooth, it's simple, it's really nice on the eyes, I guess is a really good way to put it. So, I am really, really enjoying Scarlet and Violet. I got Violet, for those who are wondering. Golden Routes has actually Violet routes, or Royal Purple routes, rather than Golden, and the reasoning behind that is not any part of this topic right now, so I won't be going over that, but I think you guys should get the game. Honestly, it's really good. Again, I haven't gotten too far into it, but this is the first Pokemon game since Generation 3 that I have been like, okay, I actually have to put this down. Because if I don't, then I am going to get really far into the game. I'm going to waste a lot of time. I'm supposed to be doing other stuff. And I'm not getting this stuff done because I am just attached to this game. You know, like, a review like this coming from somebody who has not been into Pokemon for a while, I think that says a lot about this generation. You know, I'm very picky about the games I play. I literally only play like 3 or 4 different games. I'll try other games, but I don't necessarily complete them or beat them because I'm really picky about it. A lot of the times it's because I simply don't have the time to sit down and play a game. So when I find a game that I can actually sit down and play, that says a lot. But yeah, like, if you're questioning whether or not you should buy Scarlet and Violet, all I can say is I'd recommend it. At least try it. You know, so if somebody's bought it and didn't like it and you can find it cheaper, you know, buy it because it's cheaper. You know, don't spend the whole $60 on it if you're skeptical, but at the same time, I think it's well worth the $60. And again, I can't stress this enough. I have not gotten very far in the game. I have not even gotten to the first gym. So, but I love the idea of being able to create your own TMs. You know, that's like, I am a gatherer of everything. So if I can go and collect a material, I will go and collect a material. Now, I wish they would have introduced like herbs and ores and stuff like that into the game, kind of like how they did in Pokemon Arceus, but I think they're getting there. I really do. I think the next generation will be a pretty big step up too. So just try it. If you don't like it, then I'm sorry you didn't like it. You know, I don't know what else to say because, in my opinion, this is one of the best generations they have come out with since Generation 3. You know, I know there's going to be a lot of debate on that from other people, but it's my opinion. Generation 3 was a really good generation for me. I had a really good experience with it, and I'm having a really good experience with this one so far, so that's all though, so thanks for watching. Don't forget to give the video a thumbs up, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your day.